I left New York to pursue directing full time. I already had a great job. I was making six figures, a good six-figure salary. I was like, I can just do this and be good. But I was like, nope, I really want to follow my dreams and my goals, and I'm just going to do it. So I just feel like being a Caribbean woman, descendants of African slaves at that, I'm not afraid to cross the water. Hey.
That's it, that's all. That's it, that's all. How you feel? That's it, that's all. That's it, that's all. Black excellence at its finest. How that skin glows, she's a true diamond. With the world at her back, she's still smiling. Never left that crown till she stays thriving. That's it, that's all. That's it, that's all. Keep it real. That's it, that's all. That's it, that's all. Is that really it though?
What up, what up, what up, what up? Welcome to Daz It Daz All. Y'all know who I am. My name is KC Carnage. And today we're going to do a little something different. Usually I have a panel or I'm doing an artist spotlight. But today I think that I want to showcase one of a person that I think is a tastemaker. She's definitely moving strides in her field of work. And she's just a phenomenal person. We got Miss Candice Vernon here. Hey, Candice.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And not only is she a phenomenal woman, but, she's an award-winning writer, director, and a philanthropist. She's Jamaica born. She was raised here in the U.S. and in Germany, and her career took off with a short film called Make America Great with a question mark. So we're going to get into that because I was wondering why it was a question mark after that. Some of her work consists of partnerships with NBA 2K, Vaseline, Sveka Vodka, and many other big-name projects. But you know what? I'll let her tell her story because that's what she's here for. So what up, Candice?
Hello.
How's your day going?
My day's going pretty good. It seems like there's never enough time in the day. But,
right? But somebody always told me that everybody gets the same 24 hours. So whatever you do with that 24 hours is really up to you.
I wish we had 25 though.
Right? Just one more hour. All right, well, let's just jump right into it. Tell us a little bit about your journey into becoming like a director or filmmaker. Is that something that you have always wanted to do, or is something you kind of fell into?
You're going to learn a lot about me today. I don't know. I feel like it was destined for me to do what I'm doing. I don't have anyone in my family that's a creative or anyone that works in any type of creative capacity whatsoever. I don't know. I was like this little kid in Jamaica that my mom named me after Candice Vernon, the actress, and she gave me my middle name based on the character's name. And she was just, like in Jamaica watching this show and just decided to name me completely after this woman in this fictional character. And I feel like that had something to do with me doing what I'm doing now, not even knowing that going into it, because I had no idea what I was going to do as a kid. I thought I was going to actually work in like medicine and like deliver babies or like work with babies. And this creative bone just hit me, and I just couldn't do anything but that ever since, I think, junior high school. I was like writing and just doing stuff. Some of my writings got put in books, and I just knew I wanted to do something creative and tell stories and, sometimes tell silly stories.
Okay. I mean, when I was reading your bio, it was saying that you had a big niche in like comedic writing, and it was funny for me to read because when you and I first met, I didn't take you for a comedic writer, but then when we were out and about, I think for my birthday one year, I was like, oh, this is her personality for real. Like this is what, and I saw the silliness that you had. Now, when you said that you started young, how did your first project come about? Like, how did you get in front of somebody? How did you like get on the map?
Oh man, let me see. I mean, I feel like every time I did something, it's because I paid for it. It's like I had to pay for my own project, my short films, my whatever it is. It's like, getting your reel together. So I did that and just like showed it to a lot of people. Like when I was first in New York, the first thing I did was I convinced some people to give me $10,000 each, and I had $20,000. I don't even know how I did it, but it was just the grace of God. They were like, oh, we believe in you. We believe in this little script that you wrote. It's never going to give us any money, but here's 10 racks. Here's 10 racks. I was like, oh, okay, yay, I can go play.
Don't you love friends with money? Hey, friends. Thank you.
Exactly. You know, that it's a write-off for them. But anyway, it was very nice for me. And I just used that, and I was working as a PA on Law and Order, and I was just showing everybody that thing when I finished the film. And when I moved here, because I transitioned from producing commercials to like more directing, well, 100% directing. And it's like I had to have a calling card again, so I had to do another film to like, all right, be like, this is what I'm doing now. Take me seriously, because this is all I'm going to be doing is directing. I'm not doing anything else, but this is it. It's just being relentless and persistent, and it just takes one or a couple of people to be like, I'm rocking with you, and you know, that's it. Believing in yourself, putting your money, your everything behind your words and who you say you are. You got to do that if you believe in yourself. And so it starts with just believing in yourself, and then everything else is going to come.
No, I totally agree. I mean, like we, you know, as artists, and creatives, we kind of hit our head against the wall. Like, I want to make it. I want to make it. I want to do stuff. I want to do stuff. And then sometimes it really takes a tribe. So it's nice to know. And it's also like I would say like a pat on your back. Like there's a form of gratification where you have been visioning this, you know, visioning, and someone else sees your vision. Mm-hmm. It's one of the best feelings in the world, I think, because sometimes you do need that extra hand. It's always like these pieces to a puzzle, and until you can get these pieces and form that outline, and then that one piece that you've been missing comes out of nowhere, and it just falls right in the middle of the puzzle. It's an amazing feeling. So I totally agree with that. So you are a Caribbean woman. Mm-hmm. How have you navigated in America? When did you move to the U.S.?
Well, I moved to the U.S. For good when I was about 9 years old. I just feel like I was all over the place as a kid. You know, my parents left me in Jamaica for a little bit when they moved to America, and my dad went into the Army, and my mom came here to work. So that's how I ended up in Germany, because he got shipped away to Germany. So then I went to kindergarten in Germany, and then it was too cold. My mom was like, nope. I did it for a year. I went back to Jamaica. And then finally at 9, I was reunited with my parents in Washington, D.C. So all of that moving around and being from a different country, it's always given me like this attitude of fearlessness to just move around and like go anywhere and do anything, because I did so much of that as a kid, and that's kind of like all that I knew, what shaped me for, you know, like what life can be like. Because people are always asking me like, how do you just move here? How do you just do this? I mean, I left New York to pursue directing full time when I already had a great job. I was making 6 figures, a good 6-figure salary. I was like, I can just do this and be good. But I was like, nope, I really want to follow my dreams and my goals, and I'm just going to do it. So I just feel like being a Caribbean woman, you know, descendants of African slaves at that, I'm not afraid to cross the water.
Hey, cross the water. I mean, that's definitely well put, 100%. So how do you go about including like your culture and your heritage in your work?
I just do whatever feels good to me. And I think like no matter what I do, because it's coming from me and it's coming from my perspective, I'm always going to do something from the perspective of the skin that I stand in. So
as you should. I'm
always going to, always going to do that and think about the world in that way for it to be inclusive. So yeah, that's how I bring. I mean, even right now, we were talking about how, I got to go away. I want to go write because I'm writing a film, a feature that takes place in Jamaica with Jamaican characters, and characters more that look like me, you know, people that moved to America and grew up here, and like really having that, I guess, Jamaican American experience in Jamaica. So, because I haven't really seen that, and I want to.
That's an important story.
I want to show my life, and I have so many friends that are, you know, nowadays there's like a bunch of Nigerian American things, but I just don't really see too much of the Caribbean American story. And And so I want to tell that, but in a comedy.
Well, that's amazing because, I mean, people do need to see it. You know, representation is important. And until we see it, until kids see it, it takes somebody to show us what can be done and what can be achieved for us to believe it can be achieved. And that is an amazing thing that you're doing because, the representation sometimes in America of Black people, especially Black women. Like, I was talking to a friend the other day, about how they're either fighting, like Black women are fighting, or they're being depicted as whores, or they're being depicted as single mothers with no job and on welfare. And to be honest with you, that's a small percentage. Yes, that happens, and yes, that's real life as well. But this percentage of that in America, it's very little compared to how much they show it. So it's important for people like you, people like myself, who have, things like that, who can show that, no, it can be done. There are amazing Black women, there are amazing Black people that are doing amazing things, and you can too. Put your mind to it, stick to your dreams, and you can make it happen. But one thing that I love is that you travel to Africa very often.
Yeah.
When was your first visit, and what made it imperative to you to go back so frequently?
People ask me this question all the time. I feel like I'm like Miss Africa that's not African.
Right.
But, I grew up with a Pan-African dad. He talked to me about Africa so much. And being from Jamaica, we talked about our ancestors all the time. So I grew up with even being Jamaican with Marcus Garvey. And Marcus Garvey is one of the biggest Pan-Africans. I first went to Africa in probably, maybe it was 2010, something like that. I went to South Africa for the first time, and I spent 3 weeks there. And I was just like, oh, this is cool, but it didn't feel like home to me, but South Africa also has a very brutal history of apartheid, and I still felt a lot of that being there. So it was weird for me to be in South Africa, but it's a very beautiful place. But then I went to Ghana in 2019, and then I just didn't stop going back. I mean, I probably go 3 times a year, and when I went to Ghana, I felt like I was in Jamaica. I felt like my spirit and my whole everything felt like I was like, ooh, this feels like home. And I know that a lot of our ancestors are from Nigeria and from Ghana, from that coast. So I just felt spiritually like this is the place to be. I partied like I never had in my life. I, just met amazing people everywhere. I had good food. I like spicy food, and they like to serve spice on top of spice. Like, you'll get spicy chicken
I love spicy
with a spicy
food.
sauce and a spicy everything on top of it. So it's like spice on top of spice on top of spice. So I love it. And I just kept on going back, and I felt like God kept on bringing me back. The second time I went back, I got brought back to speak to these young girls at a soccer academy because I'm very vocal about things that I don't like. And I was having dinner with someone, and I was talking about the slave castles, and the story that's being told there is not right. And I was just going on and on and on about how they need to be refurbished and torn down and to show something that is positive for various different reasons. So I got invited to speak to a school after this conversation. And then I just kept on going back because I know I had this vision that I was building a school, and then I ended up getting land, for like basically nothing. And I just kept on meeting people that kept on helping me along this journey and to tell this story in my life that I didn't even know was about to be told.
Yeah, I've never been. I can't wait until I go. Definitely on the checklist within the year. So I feel like that's amazing. But you talked about your land. So that segues into my next question. You are a founder of InvestWise Africa. What are your principles on that? And did that stem from you buying the land before and feeling like we need to keep buying land, buying back the land?
Yeah, so that stemmed from, it was a conversation I was having with who is now my business partner. We were introduced by a mutual friend because of an event called Africon, basically. And this person knew that I had land and that also I had just bought a condo as an investment. And so I had been like investing in like other commodities and stuff there also. So they were like, oh, well, you should do this workshop with, you know, this guy. And then him and I, through meeting and preparing for the workshop, was like, oh, I like what you got going on in Rwanda. You got all this stuff going on. Rwanda's about to be the next place because I do a lot of research and data, especially with the IMF and just all of the, you know, like monetary services and companies out there. And long story short, he was like, oh, well, you're doing something in Ghana. I'm like, you're doing something in Rwanda. We can help each other and teach each other. And it just made sense that we want to make it easy for diasporans and people that look like us that aren't African, you know, that Black American, you know, from the Caribbean or from the like the UK, but of African origin, that they can see how they can also invest in opportunities that I believe will build them, you know, like wealth and just like, you know, just look outside of your immediate, you know, circle because there's so many opportunities out there. And I think that it's so beautiful for Black people to contribute to building, you know, back Africa.
Right. Do you smile yourself, like, do you see yourself like living there permanently?
I don't think I'm gonna live anywhere permanently.
Okay, woman of the world.
I think I definitely want to have. So my goals, I want to have my home in L.A., my home in Jamaica. I already have land there, you know, and I want to build like a actual like beach house in Ghana, but now I have my condo there. And then I think maybe Atlanta.
Okay. No New York, no DC?
No, you know, my family's in DC, so I'm just going to go check them.
Yeah,
I don't need to live there.
Someone asked me the other day, they was like, where do you stay when you're in DC? I was like, nowhere. My aunt's house, my cousin's house.
I go to my mama's house.
My college friend's house. That's like asking me where I'm going to stay when I go to Jersey. What? Like, so I understand that. Okay. Now, I also heard from a little birdie, maybe I read it, that you were handpicked by Stevie Wonder himself to direct The Dream That Still Lives. And I told you I was going to go back to it because, again, it always is a thought-provoking thing when someone writes something and then puts a question mark behind it. So let's talk about that. Like, it was about the celebration of Martin Luther King Jr.'s life. How did that project come about, and what was your favorite take from it?
So that actually came about after I did Make America Great with a question mark. And that was because I thought, what is the worst thing that can happen in the world if Trump became president? And I shot this thing based on that before he became president. And he kept on saying that he wants to make America great again. I was like, well, what does that even mean? Because your definition of Make America Great, I feel like it makes it terrible for me. So
that part,
I did this drama comedy that got written up in The Hollywood Reporter, some other publications, and yeah, so from the press on that, and I had a lot of views on that, I had people reaching out to me about a bunch of different things. And so this production company was like, hey, we have this content piece, and they remember seeing my reel like a few months before. They were like, well, you know, would you like to do this? You know, it's with Stevie Wonder and like, you know, whatever. I had only had that short film, you know, the most recent thing, Make America Great. So people were watching that and I was like, oh, great. I mean, I'm like
showing everybody.
Well, yeah, I mean, I show everybody everything.
Right.
Whatever I do, I'm like, okay, everybody's going to see it. But I was like, well, I guess if Stevie liked it, but I don't know. How did he watch it? Like, did he listen? You know, I know. So I was always wondering because I'm just like, even when we were like doing edits and we had phone calls with him and he'd be going over feedback, I'm like, I just don't really.
How can I really trust his judgment? He didn't see it.
But I'm just like, I don't know. It's interesting. I'm like, it's a very interesting thing. I'm like, does he just have someone sitting there telling him what's going on, or because he's been so used to, now I'm closing my eyes like an idiot, but he's just been so used to feeling everything without sight. I was like, so, you know,
I mean,
it's
that's
like a heightened thing.
That's a question that I'll never know the answer to because I'm not a blind person in America, but I do know that, you know, when one sense is gone, everything else is heightened. So It could very well. He probably saw it in color in his visions, and maybe that's how he knew.
Well, girl, either way, Stevie Wonder was like, yeah, it's you doing this. And so we did it. It was my first big thing that who knows how many hundreds of thousands of dollars it was. I was like, oh, this is like my first big thing that I'm getting hired for. I was hired to do like a little Instagram commercial, but this was like, I was like, this is a lot of money, So we're doing this. I'm getting a chance
I got
to
the budget.
direct, the Obamas, Meryl Streep, who I loved, Paul McCartney saying happy birthday to me. Yeah, it was really good. It was nice. So I got it because of me putting money behind myself. I didn't get $20,000 this time from somebody else to do Make America Great. I did that myself. I funded that.
And that's why she's a tastemaker, because she did it herself, man. Like, you can do so much when you truly believe yourself. And there's always the resources out there, even if you think that they're not. One thing I know that anything worth great being done is most of the time the drive and the ambition behind it. And you have to literally bet on yourself, like literally bet on yourself. I mean, think about like Tyler Perry. Dude was living in a car, like making scripts out of his car, and now he's about to buy the world. Like, he's literally taking over the world piece by piece. Like, if y'all don't see it, I see you, Tyler. I see you. Okay. Well, my last question, you know what I mean, with all the goods, I'm sure there's a lot of challenges, and with challenges comes perseverance. Like, being a Black woman in your field, which is typically a male-dominated field, how have you navigated around that, and what have some of your challenges been, like the friction?
I mean, I feel like I'm still navigating. It's hard, especially not even just being a director, because I feel like for me, I'm also not just doing one genre of thing. And because I specifically do more like humor, comedy, that is typically like a man's, everybody thinks about comedy, think about comedy male directors, or even, furthermore, white male directors. And even in the commercial world, there may be 2 Black female directors that do comedy, and I'm one of them, that has the reel of that work out there. So I ain't gonna lie, it's hard. And it's like, I always gotta stay on top of my reps. Matter of fact, I'm looking for a new one for something right now. But yeah, it's like, you just gotta stay on top of people. And honestly, you just gotta move like that's not even a thing. Because when I think about that I don't even want that to put me in a negative,
Thoughts have
mindset at all. And thoughts do have power. And I really do believe that everything is possible, and that there are endless possibilities in life for everyone if you just believe it. So while somebody over here may just be like, oh, well, we're not looking for a Black woman. It's like, okay, I don't care if you're not looking for a Black woman, but you're looking for a director that can do this. And so I'm just trying to break that barrier to not be seen as like a Black female director, and just be seen as a director.
Which is fair. Well, Candice, I think we learned a lot about you today. At the end of my show, I love to leave a message, because I do feel like we have to pay it forward. What would you say to your younger self, or you can pitch it to, the audience, all the viewers out there? What would you say to them that are trying to either break into their field, or overcoming this, overcoming these obstacles, or feeling like they have a lot of doubt about what they want to do? What would you say to them?
Well, first, I would definitely say this to myself and to the audience. 2 things, really. To always remember that, like, your current location doesn't determine your future destination. And that's something that I had to remind myself, that it doesn't matter where you start. You have no idea where you're going to end up, but you just really, really, really have to believe in yourself. When you believe in yourself, you're going to, there's no faith without works, right? So when you believe in yourself, you're going to make the steps to do that work. Even if you don't have a budget, you're going to write something, you're going to shoot it with an iPhone, you're going to do whatever you can to make that dream that is burning in your soul and your heart possible. And you're going to do that multiple times. You're going to do that again and again and again and again. It's not a one-time thing. So make sure that the dream is really what you want, because you're going to find yourself doing that time and time again, no matter how successful you are, because there's going to be something else that you need to do that's going to be new territory.
Thank you, Candice, for coming on the show. And guys, if you have any questions for us, or if you have any questions for Candice, all her links to her bio or website will be posted. And join the conversation. Here we're here to build that conversation, talk about, and also too, like we talked about, being that example, seeing that women like yourself, like myself, like herself, can do exactly what you want to do and excel at it and be successful at it and build whatever you want to build. And that's the real goal of anybody, period. Period. At least that's one of my goals. Like, subscribe, share, do all the things, send us an email. And if there's anything else you want to talk about, or you have any follow-ups about today's episode, don't hesitate to hit us up. And that's it. That's all. Daz It Daz All is written by me, KC Carnage, and produced by myself and Barrio Dill. Associate producer, Bri Coorey. Assistant producer, Larissa Donahoe. Audio and video engineering and studio facilities provided by S.L.A.P Studios LA, with distribution through our collective for social progress and cultural expression, S.L.A.P the Network. If you have any ideas for a show you want to hear or see, please email us at info@slapthepower.com. And as always, go to dazitdazall.com and sign up there to make sure you will never miss a thing. See you next show.